Welcome to my new calculus channel. My name is John Gabriel. Today I'm going to talk about a subject I've talked about in quite a lot of videos on my channel, but I'd like to give you an even deeper perspective, or one that you may not have thought of before. The topic I'm going to be discussing is Euler's blunder. Okay, so let's begin. Now, I'm going to give you links to these two articles here, but I'm going to quickly go over Euler's blunder. So, what is Euler's blunder? So, in his Elements of Algebra, which would have been probably one of the best algebra textbooks out if he hadn't made so many mistakes, he creates his most serious blunder. He defines a series to be equal to its limit. Okay, so let's see what does he say in his original Elements. He says, daher ist uns Bruch 1 over 1 plus a gleich dieser unendlichen Reihe, which is this series here. Now what that means is, therefore is our fraction 1 over 1 plus a equal this infinite series, But if we say this here is equal to s, okay, then the implication directly tells us that the limit of s is going to be this value here, which is equal to the fraction. Okay, so in other words, lim s is equal to the fraction. So you've now got two different objects, s and lim s, which Euler equates. He says, therefore, s is equal to lim s. Now, let's see how this absolute toxic garbage infiltrated all of mainstream mathematics. Okay, so now, if you look at this function here, 1 over 1 plus x squared, you'll tell yourself, well, if you integrate it from minus infinity to positive infinity, you're not really doing anything there excepting taking limits, okay? So you're saying that the area under this curve from negative infinity to positive infinity, that's not even possible, by the way, people. It's not possible. You're saying that that area is equal to pi, the constant pi. That's absolute rot, because you cannot compute an infinite process, okay? You cannot, if you do that, if you say that it is equal to pi, then you're saying that infinity completes, and basically basically what's happened is you've reached a super task. You've accomplished a super task. You've completed from negative infinity to positive infinity an entire sum. That's absolute hogwash. No. That's not what the definite integral in the mainstream says. It's a garbage definition, which arrived from Riemann sums and from Leibniz and from all those idiots who didn't understand calculus as well as I do. So all that's happening here is that the limit that this area gets to is, that the limit that this area cannot reach or exceed is pi, the constant pi, okay? Which there's no number to describe the constant pi. So what I'm telling you is that according to my general formula, and I am a genius, by the way, for the computation of area, it's a product of two arithmetic means. Which two arithmetic means here are you? There are no two arithmetic means that will give you the area under this curve. They don't exist, meaning there is no possibility to calculate the area under this curve. So when they tell you that pi is equal to this, that's absolute hogwash, okay? Because even this definite integral in the mainstream is ill-formed, unlike in the new calculus where you don't have limits or bullshit concepts like infinity, etc. Okay, so you cannot say that the area under a curve from negative infinity to positive infinity is pi. That's absolute nonsense. Now, this same toxic garbage found its way also to things like a third and 0.333. Now, look, people, look. What this means here is that a third has no measure in base 10. And I'm going to provide a link to an article which proves that. It's called the most important number theorem, proof of the most important number theorem that the moronic mainstream mathematics professors never learned. And you'll find it here, okay? So I'm going to give you both these links. Now watch what happens as we go along here. So look at the sum up here. Yes, it's starting to resemble this, but this here does not mean what's happening here. You cannot stop. You cannot go to infinity, okay? There's no such thing. I mean, you know, even it doesn't matter if you carry on doing this forever and ever, amen, so to speak. This sum will never, ever, ever represent the measure of a third, because a third has no measure in base 10. And your moronic mathematics teachers and mathematics lecturers do not understand number systems. They never have. They're absolute morons, okay? They don't even understand what is a number. They can't tell you in one sentence, in one simple sentence, what is a number. But I'm telling you these things. So you cannot make a stupid statement like say 1/3 is equal to this. It's not, because this here is not an infinite thing. This here simply means that if you try to measure 1/3 in base 10, it will always be a 3. But you never get to the end. And according to my theorem, you can't measure a third in base 10. So it doesn't matter how far you keep going. You're never going to have a third in base 10. Okay, it's as simple as that. So that other fallacy of 0.999 falls into the same category as this. Where did all this nonsense come from? That's right. It came from this blunder of Euler's, okay? Euler made a serious mistake. You cannot take two different mathematical objects and equate them. That's just absolute nonsense. And you should call out your teacher of mathematics and your professor of mathematics when they preach this absolute rot to you. Don't let them get away with it, because they're poisoning your minds. And here I am revealing the truth to you. By the way, my IQ is in the top 0.5%, okay? So I'm much smarter than all of you. Much, much smarter. The majority of you are absolute morons compared to my intelligence. It's like, I mean, it's almost like I'm speaking to chimpanzees when I'm speaking to mathematics professors. They're not mathematicians, by the way. They love to think they are, because they wrote a little essay which they call their PhD dissertation. But a dissertation is not even good enough to wipe your ass on, okay? Most of them, by the way, are not even mathematics. Topology is not mathematics. I'm sorry. Neither is set theory. Neither is logic. None of that stuff is mathematics. And of course, because they never understood mathematics and they couldn't do mathematics, but they wanted it to sound like, you know, something of value, they called that nonsense mathematics as well. But it's got nothing to do with mathematics. All right? So I'm telling you the truth now. You can either study what I'm telling you and learn it and understand it, or you can just call me a crank and keep on saying that I don't know what I'm talking about, and you'll never understand mathematics, by the way. You'll never understand, because I'm telling you that what your teachers are telling you and your professors is absolute rot. It's bullshit with a capital BS, okay? So I'm not going to carry on with this. I don't want to carry on talking about this, but if you're not already a subscriber, become a subscriber and follow my series on Book 5 of Euclid's Elements, because I'm probably going to go back to that, but I thought just as a nice little refresher, let me go over this blunder of Euler's. And I'll speak to you hopefully again in the near future. This is a New Calculus channel. My name is John Gabriel. Till next time, goodbye.